Special guest today, Damiano, first Sri Lankan in my podcast, other than me. Marketing agency owner, you're a consultant, you work with big brands like Nike, HBO, Panasonic.
Our entire ethos for existing is radical marketing, stuff that's really unconventional. What I'm noticing is there's a lot of education that is just missing. A lot of people, when they think about doing content, it just seems like an expense to them. Every dollar you put in your content is an investment because you're building your personal brand.
Do you think that there's a point where AI platforms who are actually helping you to create your own avatar and make content out of it? I wouldn't feel good knowing that Damiano is an AI.
That's the one thing that AI will have a much more difficult time actually taking over, because when you build your personal brand, people trust you. I do think that there is going to be a future where people are going to value real people, because it's going to get to the point where a lot of influencers are going to be AI generated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest today, Damiano Ravindran, first Sri Lankan in my podcast, other than me.
Nice.
Good to have you here, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're a marketing agency owner. You're a consultant. You work with big brands like Nike, HBO, Panasonic, Dyson. You work with a lot of big brands, and you do a lot more things as well. So I want to have a conversation with you and see how I can take some of your brain and use it for my own purposes. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. So it's always I'm always happy when one of my brothers is doing great. A brother from another mother.
Likewise.
So how's everything with you? How's business?
Business is good.
Yeah.
Business is busy. It's very busy, very busy. There's a lot going on right now, so I'm literally on the phone most of the time, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, business. That's what you need to do, right?
Basically.
You make your money over the phone. So, tell me more about yourself. I know I saw you for the first time maybe 2-3 years ago. I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this brown guy who's doing the same thing as me? It's very rare to see brown folks there, especially in Montreal. Maybe less more common in Toronto. So I was super happy, and then I found out that you had this a big long ass name. So I'm like, okay, this guy has to be Sri Lankan. Then from there we connected, and we even went for dinner. So I got to know a little bit more about your business. You do a lot of things, especially working with big brands. That's pretty it's a big success, right? So tell me more about your business. So for those who don't know you, it's what do you do exactly?
Yeah, I mean, so I have two businesses that I run right now. The first one is a marketing agency called Brand Butter. So Brand Butter is a marketing agency that specializes in working with entertainment brands. So we work with entertainment brands worldwide. Our entire ethos for existing is very much radical marketing. And what we define as radical marketing is the type of marketing that really cuts the noise, and it's stuff that's really unconventional. So we're really well known for, hey, if you want to do something for your brand that's really weird, then you go see the Brand Butter guys. So we come up with these campaigns that get tons of press, tons of impressions, get people to remember a brand. And we could do that for both B2C and B2B as well. So we put together a lot of events. We work in 45 different countries. So there's tons of stuff that we could usually do for brands.
Usually, radical marketing, I never heard about that word before. So obviously, I'm more into the personal brand. I have my own business. People come to me because they know me, and then they want to have a mortgage, right? So it's one of the main reasons they comes to me. But you're telling me that you also deal with B2C clients, which is are you talking about self-employed people like us, or are you talking about big brands?
No, I'm talking about, we usually work with big brands. So
Okay.
it's usually really big brands that want to get to an audience. So we'll either work with Netflix, for example, on the release of a new show. We did all the publicity for the latest season of Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, in 11 different cities across Europe. So it's usually stuff like that, where a brand has a message they want to get to their audience, and we kind of find a way to make it funny or to make it radical, as we like to say, to get people to.
You told me a lot of stories about the stuff, the marketing that you do. So can you give me an example for the audience to get to understand what does it mean? What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the latest really successful campaigns that we did, which was kind of unconventional, is we actually started advertising through a channel that nobody ever thought about, which is Chinese fortune cookies.
Okay.
And when you go at the end of a meal at a Chinese restaurant, you usually get this fortune cookie. What a lot of people don't realize is that here in Canada alone, we distribute about 300 million of those every single month.
It's a lot of
across
cookies.
the country. It's a lot of cookies, but most importantly, it's a lot of impressions. And specifically with the fortune cookies, we've actually noticed that the open rate on these cookies is like 92%. Anybody who has had that ritual of really opening one of these cookies, they know you open it, you read the fortune inside, you share it with the people at your table. It's an intimate moment that brands usually don't have access to. And so one of the things that we decided to do is we actually partnered up with Open Fortune, which is a company that controls the entire distribution of every fortune cookie in the world. We signed an exclusivity deal with them to be able to offer it to our brands. And now we can basically advertise inside those fortune cookies.
That's crazy.
We can put offers, we can put QR codes, we can put anything that we want. And 300 million impressions a month, hundreds of thousands of restaurants. And so we kind of find channels that are unconventional and that people never thought about before. We test them. If they work out, then we turn that into an offer, and we offer it to larger brands.
That's amazing, man. That's, I think about it, like, how do you, like, doing marketing through a fortune cookies is radical. You don't think about it, right?
And like usually the way that I explain it to my clients is like, look, if you're looking to get brand awareness, there's a few ways that you can do that. Yeah. But let's take like the conventional way of getting a billboard on the highway, for example. Yeah. Sure, you're gonna have 180,000 cars passing by that billboard, but the conversion rate on that billboard and the engagement rate on that billboard is pretty low usually. That's why like these companies just have to get multiple of them. They have to be there constantly. When it comes to the fortune cookie, the open rate is super high. The engagement rate is super high. We've actually never found a marketing channel that was as good as this for most brands. So it's something that if you look at the actual statistics, it's better than billboards, it's better than TV ads, it's better than so many other things, but it's literally a cookie at the end of your Chinese meal.
Let me ask you this, like big brands, how much of their income, profit, or do they allocate to those to this kind of marketing? Like you told me before the podcast, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, that's crazy numbers. Like I get it, like they're multi-billion-dollar companies, so they need to allocate a big amount of big amount of their resources in marketing. But do you have an idea?
I mean, like usually, what a big brand will do is they'll split their marketing budget in two. So you have the marketing budget that goes towards like acquisition, which is most of your performance-based marketing. These could be your Facebook ads or Google ads, like any channel that you really want to use for acquisition. And then you have your brand awareness, which will be the flyers, the billboards, like and the TV ads, like all of those things. And so usually brands will be able to say, okay, in 2026, we want to spend $150 million in brand awareness. The reason why they do that is because the more money you spend in brand awareness, the cheaper it gets for you to actually acquire customers. And so the brands that really win in the space are the brands that focus a lot on brand awareness, knowing that it's a long-term game, but with the goal of making sure that all of their acquisition channels are literally going down. So once you've built brand, everything else becomes easier. And that's why, like, you can take two brands that are identical and they do exactly the same thing, but one of them is focusing a lot more on brand awareness, while the other one is only wants acquisition. They only want paying clients today. So they're going for the short term. 100% of the time, the brand that goes for the long term and spends on brand awareness is the brand that's going to win in the end.
So if we go back to this entrepreneur who's trying to like make it in business, he needs to like do his own marketing, brand awareness, stuff like that, right? So what kind of, like, most of those entrepreneurs, like self-employed people, mortgage brokers, realtors, financial advisors, and stuff like that, these people, like, obviously they tend to more focus on the acquisition marketing instead of the brand awareness. How important it is, and how important it is to also do the brand awareness, and what's the reason why they're not actually putting the focus? Like most entrepreneurs, they don't really tend to focus on that. Obviously, it's because a lot of money is in the long term, but what's your feedback on that?
I think it's a lot of it is just a lack of education. So with my clients, whether they're a large brand or a solopreneur just getting started, what I'm noticing is there's a lot of education that is just missing. And that's why they pay us, because we're experts and we come in with this kind of knowledge. I'm going to focus on the solopreneurs a little bit because that's what your question was about. When it comes to solopreneurs, I feel like a lot of people, when they think about doing content and making content, kind of like what we're doing here, it just seems like an expense to them, right? But the reality is that every dollar you put in your content is an investment because you're building your personal brand. And there are ways for you to actually be able to get some of the performance and some of the clients right away. One of the things that I use regularly and that I teach to my consulting clients actually is the sell by chat model on Instagram, for example. And so with sell by chat, it's very simple. If you start making content on Instagram, until you make 150 reels, Instagram doesn't even know who your audience is. So it'll just keep testing your audience to see who's actually reacting more. But the reality is, if you want to do super well with content, you have to be putting out 3 to 5 videos every single day. And if you look at the Alex Hormozzi's,
5 videos.
I know it's a very difficult cadence to hit, and it's expensive. But if you look at Dan Martel, Alex Hormozzi, even here in Montreal, we have Tatiana Londano, we have tons of other people that are actually doing that. They're pushing out 3 to 5 videos every single day. And the reason for that is because you want to hit that 150 reels as soon as possible. And a lot of people will look at that and they'll be like, oh my God, it's going to cost me so much money. If you look at a marketing agency, they'll sell you a $3,000 to $5,000 a month package, and it comes with 10, 20 videos max, right? Every single month. And so it's just, the cadence is not enough. And the reason why a lot of personal brands actually don't take off as quickly as some other ones, it's purely the amount of content that they're putting out. And so with the sell by chat model, what you do is you actually create the amount of content that you can handle. So if it's 3 videos a week or if it's 5 videos a week, you start with that. And then you kind of work your way up. But your best performing videos, you end up boosting them. And when you boost them on a platform like Instagram, you just set the call to action to view my profile. And from those boosts, you're going to get a few people that are going to follow you. So these are people that now, because you're producing all this content, they're going to be able to binge watch your content, and they'll go through the entire funnel and they'll watch video after video. What that does in the human brain is that it starts creating trust and familiarity. And most of the time when somebody makes a purchasing decision, it's because of trust and familiarity. It's not because of price and quality. Like, for example, if your brother or your mother tells you to buy something, you trust them, they're familiar with you, you don't even care how much it costs, you're just going to do it. And that's what your content is doing for you. This is a way to bring up your following in a pretty consistent and steady way by boosting the organic posts. But once those people end up following you, what you want to do is you want to send them a DM. And that DM should be very simple. It should just say, hey, first name, thank you for following, really appreciate it. Are you just here for the videos? And then you put the problem that you solve. For example, are you looking to get a mortgage? Or are you looking to grow a business, right? Are you looking to do content? So if you do that enough, you're going to have a few people that are like, oh, I'm just here for the videos. And at that point, you just go like, oh, well, thank you so much. Appreciate your follow. But some of those people will be like, you know what? I do need a mortgage. Or you know what? I do need to grow a business. And from there, you can get the short sort of time length of acquiring customers while still working on the longer term goal, which is building your personal brand.
That's so interesting. So I don't do it. Mm-hmm. Meaning most of my followers, I just keep that way. I don't reach out to them. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Do you automate that part where as soon as it follows, it sends out a DM or
it's not and you can automate it. The way that I do it is with a virtual assistant. So I have my assistant in the Philippines, and so every time somebody follows, every single day she'll just go and send that message. The reality is, once they answer and they do show that they need some help with something, then at that point you kind of have to take over the conversation because you're the expert. And so if you do it right, you can actually close them over text, which is cool. Absolutely. You never need to get on a call with them. You never need to do anything. But obviously there's another flow where you get on a call with them and you do the whole sales call and
so 150 reels, and then after that Instagram kind of know what type of audience you're looking for.
Yeah, it gets a lot easier after 150 reels.
You boost the ones that are working out, working good for you, and then after that you reach out to those people that follows you and then try to close them. Man, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if you look at the online coaching space today specifically, there's a lot of people doing this. So Dan Martel, who's one of my mentors, he does this pretty much. If you just follow him, you'll get a message from him. You'll get this exact message from him. There's tons of other people that are doing this right now, and I find it's a really good balance between that acquisition side and that brand awareness side for solopreneurs. And I've taught this to my clients time and time again, and it works pretty well. So
You mentioned earlier that there's people here in Montreal, in Canada, that are doing pretty good at brand awareness, like Tatiana Rondono, Dan Martel from Canada, Vancouver. What are the like, if you can give us like a simple tools to do brand awareness for solo entrepreneurs, what could that be?
Like, honestly, I think you have to double down and triple down as much as you can on your content. Content is king, right? Like, and you're really good at it, like you do this super well. But if you just start investing a little bit more of your time and your resources towards making those pieces of content, over time, that's what's gonna really make the difference. I would focus at first on a platform like Instagram. If you're doing, like if you're selling any sort of normal service like mortgages or anything like that. Definitely YouTube is up there as well, but it is difficult to really break through, I think. But I think with everything that you can do these days with YouTube, you don't even need like lots of subscribers. You can, there's some YouTube channels that have like 2,000 subscribers, but they're making $100,000 a month, so it all depends on the setup and the way that you have it. But I would say just doubling down and tripling down on personal brand and content is the best thing that you can do for your brand.
Let's talk
you have to show up. That's the most important thing.
So you said something about like 3 to 4 content a day. That's a lot, right? As most people won't do it.
Yeah.
I don't personally do it. I do it once.
It's very difficult to get that cadence. That's the reality.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's expensive. Like, it takes a lot of your time. And that's the reality. But that's why nobody does it. Because it's
even after 150 reels, you still have to do those kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because especially if you want to keep growing and you want to get to the 100K followers, to 200K followers, that's really what it takes. And by the way, like, I'm saying this from all the research that I've done and all the clients that I've helped, but even I don't do it. It's actually like a very difficult cadence to get to, and you literally have to change your whole life for you to be able to produce that much content. Maybe things are going to change a little bit with AI in the coming years, but it is what works today. And if you look at all the people that are really growing quickly, that's what they're doing.
And they're not solely doing reels and videos. They're also putting, like Alex Omozi, if you talk about him, he does like graphics. He puts some thumbnails, not the thumbnails. What's it called, like slides and stuff like that. Yeah. So you just have to mix. You have to mix it with all those type of contents. So you don't have to do solely videos, but one or few has to be videos.
Yeah, I would say I used to say that, but the reality is most people are scrolling on Instagram, right? So you're gonna get the highest reach through your reels. That's the reality, right? They click the reel tab and they just scroll the reel tab like forever, right? So it's good for you to post like other posts and things like that. But the thing that's the most effective is to post 3 to 5 reels a day.
Do you think that there's a point where, with AI, the HeyGen and all those Synthesia, Synthesia, yeah. So all those platforms who are like actually helping you to create your own avatar and make content out of it. Yeah. Do you think that it's how do you feel about that? Like I wouldn't feel good knowing that Damiano it's an AI.
Yeah.
I can't really trust anymore because of that reason. Like I wouldn't know like if it's real, if it's fake, if it's AI. So obviously there's a point in time where AI will pretty much do everything for you. In that kind of world, do you see performance? Do you see results?
I think it's a little bit too early to tell because none of these tools are really that perfect at the moment, and you can usually tell when it's AI if you know what you're looking for. Yeah. Obviously, they're getting better by the week, right? Yeah. Like probably by the time this podcast comes out, like it'll be perfect. But I like, here's the thing, right? A lot of people are like scared of AI, and a lot of people think that it's going to replace all the jobs and it's going to replace all the entrepreneurs and stuff like that. The people that I find that are not as scared are actual real entrepreneurs, because the reality is the market has shifted and has changed forever, right? There have been new tools coming in, and with new tools we get new opportunities as well. And so I feel like once the internet has been taken over by AI and a lot of people are creating AI avatars and making content with them and stuff like that, it's just going to be a different internet, but there's still going to be tons of opportunities for entrepreneurs. And it's going to be up to people like me and people in the marketing space to really find those opportunities and innovate and create. which is why I like working in the radical marketing sector, because that's what we do. Like, we're at the edge, right? We're, the brands that come to us are brands that have a very difficult time in advertising, or brands that want to do something that cuts through the noise and is not like what their competition is doing. Playing in that space allows us to play with all of the new tools, the innovations, to test things out, to see what works, maybe something that didn't work 6 months ago now works now. And so I'm actually pretty excited about AI taking over the internet. I know it's an unpopular kind of opinion, but I, as an entrepreneur, I think it's going to give us tons and tons of opportunities.
The easiest way I can put this is money moves around through people, right? At the end of the day, with AI, like when back in the days, it was big. People were scared about internet, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of businesses disappeared because of that. But it created millions and billions of new businesses because of internet. Same for AI, and it's the easiest way we can put this. And money moves around. Money moves through people. So at the end of the day, some guy has to like make that happen, make that AI happen, and then he has to sell it, and then somebody has to buy it. So it's always through people. So if you're a real entrepreneur, like you said, you have to become so good at what you do that people still wants to like get in touch with you.
Yeah, and that's why I think, going back to your point about personal brand, that's the one thing that AI will have a much more difficult time in actually taking over, because when you build your personal brand, people trust you, and you're building trust and familiarity. And I do think that there is going to be a future, which is not so distant, where people are going to value real people, and they're going to value real people, interactions with them, and people that are not just AI generated influencers, because it's going to get to the point where a lot of influencers are going to be AI generated. I'm already having conversations with brands today where they're like, hey, we want you guys to build an AI influencer for us, and we want that AI influencers to be our brand ambassador. This is going to happen more and more. Just like there's 7 billion people in the world, give it 5 years, there's going to be 7 billion AI influencers out there that are being managed by people like you and I, right? So the actual sort of ecosystem is going to change a lot, but I think that's gonna get people to really start valuing the real people a lot more, I think. So
yeah, interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely work on your personal brand.
Definitely work on your personal brand. Let's go back to the radical marketing. You dropped some name like Netflix, right? You work on Game of Thrones. I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones.
Likewise.
So what kind of, can you tell us more about some stories of what you've done with those big brands?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll just go back to House of Dragons, the latest season. So our creative team is an amazing creative team, and we usually meet with the client and we find out what the client wants to do. For House of Dragons, what HBO wanted to do is they just wanted people to know that the premiere is coming. And so one of the things that we did is it was a experiential kind of campaign. We went into 11 European cities, like London, Barcelona, Rome, and a bunch of other ones. And we basically started adding dragon eggs a little bit everywhere. Bus stops, billboards, digital, like billboards in malls and things like that. And what people didn't understand, it was just a dragon egg just sitting there. And it didn't say Game of Thrones or nothing. People had no idea what this was. But we started doing that 3 weeks before the actual premiere, and every day the dragon egg would open. And so we literally had people going and changing every billboard and doing all these things so that every day the egg opens up a little bit more, and people start seeing it. And then a week before, we just write it there where it's like House of Dragon coming out in 7 days. And at the end, the day of the premiere, the dragon egg is completely open, and now there's a dragon, right?
That's crazy.
So it just gets people talking, gets people excited about it, especially fans of the show. When they see it, they're like, okay, well, that's pretty awesome. We put a giant dragon on a bus stop in London. That was really cool.
Do you go to those cities when you have those kind of clients, or you kind of do it everything from the office here?
We have a massive network of partners. We have over 2,000 partners worldwide, which is what allows us to work in over 45 different countries. Every agency in the world has vendors that they work with. We really value our vendor partnerships. In fact, when I started Brand Butter, my first hire was a partnership manager, and this girl was just working 40 hours a week, scouring the internet for the best partners out there that we could bring into our vendor ecosystem. So we know now that if we have a brand that wants to do an activation in Spain or in Italy or in Germany, it doesn't really matter for us because our network is so large. And so our team will usually come up with the creative and the strategy and how this needs to happen, because that's we're like the brain behind it. But all of the execution is done through a network of partners that we trust and that we love, basically.
Interesting. So let's talk about like the fact that you're in different countries. So your clients are who are wanting to like market in different areas. Do you have to do the marketing? Does it have to be different because it's a different culture? Different. Like I've been to Japan a week ago. The culture is totally different. You know, they're very polite. They thank you. They greet you most of the time, more than enough. The food is amazing. So you know, it's a different culture. It's very it's very quiet as well. You know, it's not a loud country. So you go to like busy areas and you hear nothing. Like that's insane to me. Like we're loud people, especially Western countries are very loud. So the question is, do you have to do differently when you go to some countries because of the culture?
Yeah, we definitely do, which is why we rely on our network of partners, right? Like, we're not going to pretend to know all of the intricacies of every culture and how things work there. But that's why we rely on our partners. So our partners are usually local companies that work in those specific places. We come up with the ideas, then we go meet with our partners, and we're like, this is our idea. What do you think? We get their feedback. They tell us why it would work or why it wouldn't work, and then we adjust the idea until it's something that is actually culturally relevant. We also bring in tons of consultants from those specific geos to kind of consult us on whether this is something that would make sense or not. And we do work in countries like Turkey, for example, Saudi Arabia, UAE, which are very different culture-wise from a lot of the West, and so we have to adjust.
You told me about a story about I don't know if we can talk about it. You done a marketing in India in a train.
Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it. Okay, okay. I wasn't really sure, but about the industry. But yeah, other than that, so what's gonna happen in the next 5 years, Damiano? You've been in the industry for 12 years. You know, you're working with big brand. You're also a solopreneur. You do your own marketing, like your own stuff on marketing. What can we expect in the next 5 years in the marketing side? Like at the end of the day, it goes back to like psychology. Like if you can make people feel good about themselves. Scarcity is one of one other thing that you could use. What else? Forgot the all the rest, but you know, scarcity, how they feel, sadness, and these are the stuff that moves people, right? So whatever you do, if you can focus on how people can feel about the marketing, it's pretty much what you need. But again, with AI, with everything that's going on, what's the next thing that's gonna come in the next 5 years?
No, I think it's very difficult for us to predict that. I would say like a year ago, I would have been comfortable answering that. But now with how fast things are going, it's very difficult for anyone to be able to predict that. Look, like the reality is when it comes to marketing, you just have to remember two things: trust and familiarity. It's the two only factors that make people buy from you, right? And I would say maybe like a third more important factor is consistency, right? They need to see you showing up. And so any sort of marketing campaign or any tool that we use or anything, as long as we keep those two and now three things into account, between trust, familiarity, and consistency, you can make any marketing campaign work. You know, usually when a person sees a brand or an offer, they need to see that brand 7 to 12 times before they actually convert. And so these are the types of things that you want to be thinking about, right? It's like, you're making content, great. How many videos are you making? One a week? Imagine how long it's going to take for people to see you 7 to 12 times, right? It's going to take a really long time, right? And which is why, like, you know, companies like McDonald's or other large brands, they still buy billboards. You know, Apple, everybody knows Apple. Everybody has an iPhone, but they're still advertising, even though everybody knows who they are. But it's because they know that consistency equals profitability, and you have to keep showing up for people to still find you relevant, right? Like, think of all the brands that were relevant when we were kids, and now you just don't see them anymore at all, right? It's because they just stopped advertising as much. But we still have all these feelings towards them because obviously when we were kids, that we were close to them. I'm thinking of the Ataris of the world, right? Or all of
Nokia.
these.
Is this,
Yeah, exactly.
are they still
right?
around, Nokia?
Maybe. I have no idea, right? Like, we have no idea. That's the thing.
Blackberry.
Exactly. We have no idea, but we have fond memories of them because when we were growing up, they were spending money in brand awareness. They were advertising. They were everywhere. And then eventually they became less relevant. They started spending less money on that, and they just kind of disappear, right? So you don't want to be the brand that disappears, right?
It might feel a lot, especially on the expense side, on the budget side, for a solo entrepreneur to like do all those things. It's moving so fast that it feels like you're not in the ship anymore. Like you're. So, what would you say to them? Some guy who wants to start, but he's seeing all this stuff. He looks at you, he looks at me like, oh my God, I'm so far away. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's too late to start. What would you say to them?
Like with content, you mean?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, start somewhere. Like, what I usually say is, like, it does, like, we know the ideal cadence is 3 to 5 videos a day. We know it's very difficult and expensive to get to that point, but whatever you can do, start today. It's better than doing nothing, right? And then the thing is, like, as you start and as you start seeing some of the results coming in, you'll be able to close some clients, especially with techniques like sell by chat, which makes it easy for you to get connected with your clients right away. More money comes in, just reinvest that money into content, just so you can make more of it, and you can try to hit that 3 to 5 videos a day kind of cadence.
And then and there's also a new platform like Opus, which is you just do a full content and you just push it to the AI and it's gonna cut it off.
Yeah.
And it's gonna give you like different contents to produce.
Yeah.
So I like to say it doesn't have to be expensive. Like especially with iPhones and the camera that we have these days.
Yes.
All you need is a phone.
Yeah.
There's an app called Caption where it just gives you the caption for every video.
Yeah.
It gives you B-rolls. You don't even need an editor.
You can definitely get scrappy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always super amazed by my girlfriend, who is on Instagram. She's my coach financier, and she's like a financial consultant.
Yeah.
And she does everything herself, which is crazy. But she's been like blowing up in Quebec, like on Facebook and on Instagram, and she gets people recognizing her in the street. She gets people like constant flow of leads just coming in on a regular basis, and she's growing her business right now. But I'm like, oh, this girl is actually not spending that much on content, but she's pushing out the right cadence of content. It's talking to her audience. It's actually bringing her leads. It's working super well. And I think especially for realtors, for mortgage brokers, for people like her as well in the financial sector, you can get scrappy about how you make your content. In a lot of cases, it's just about having one good partnership with a great studio like this one here where we're at, and just figuring out what your editing style is going to be and how you're going to do it. You can use great tools like Opus Clips and things like that to make it quick. But you can start scrappy, and then eventually become Alex Hormozy, who's spending $70,000 a month on his content, right?
You think that he's? You sure about the number? Like 70,000?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, $70,000 a month.
Yeah,
so it doesn't feel a lot for this guy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like the team, right?
Yeah.
It's like mostly salary, I'm guessing, right?
So one of the hardest part about doing content is I can push a lot of content. I can show up ready, but the thing is the ideas behind it, like the trends and trying to like figure out what's working, what's not working. It's like a full-time job. And I think I heard from someone who worked with Dan Martel. He said that these people have creative, I don't know what's the word title for that,
directors,
directors that only focus on researching what's working, what's not working.
That's actually what we do for brands at Brand Butter as well, and what I help my clients do as well. I actually have a really good flow for my consulting clients, because a lot of my consulting clients are solopreneurs or people just starting agencies. I usually work with agency owners, and so when you're starting out as an agency owner, you don't have tons and tons of resources, right? And so I have this flow that helps them turn ChatGPT into the best possible creative director that understands your brand, and then just use the AI.
Did you create an agent for that, or just
Yeah,
just
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. But the thing is, every agent is different because of the information that you need to feed it.
Yeah.
And so I have techniques where we can feed the right information to get the right kind of content out of it. But
again,
that's like a scrappy way of
let's
doing
talk about
it.
it. Okay, so I use ChatGPT a lot. He's my psychologist, researcher.
Likewise. Yeah,
He
yeah.
pretty much does everything.
Yeah.
Like, I pay the $250 a month
Right.
thing, so you can talk to your ChatGPT, right? It gives you a lot of information, but ChatGPT is more like always agreeing with you, right? Like, hey, great question, Sujan. That's amazing. You know, like he always approve your question, or like he always finds that it's a good question, right? With a creative director through ChatGPT, does it scrap the internet to see, or especially IG videos, real, to understand? Okay, Siljan, this works better, that work maybe not.
So it all goes into the prompting, right? Like what you said is true that it always agrees with you, right?
Yeah.
But if you create a prompt where you specifically tell it not to do that, and you specifically tell it to be critical and give you feedback on the latest strategies that you can use, and you actually train it to be a creative director, which doesn't take a very long time, you will end up getting the right results out of it. And so I think, in a lot of cases, we talk about ChatGPT as if it was a software, but hey, this thing is intelligent. I think we can tell now, and it's all about how you prompt it, and that prompt engineering is a real skill, because if you can do it right, you can get crazy results out of something.
I've been seeing courses about prompting. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, there's people are actually teaching how to prompt, how to think, how to what to write on that ChatGPT. It's like a whole industry for itself.
Yeah.
Right? So you're telling me, can it scrap reels and tells you what works? Yeah, it can.
It can. Yeah. I mean, you might need to, on the technical side, we're not going to get too technical, but on the technical side, you might need to create an agent and then connect that with a couple of other tools to be able to do that. But
Sounds complicated.
It totally can. I wouldn't say it's complicated. It's like a couple hours worth of work with somebody that knows what they're doing. Like, if you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing, it's not like super difficult. But you want to find an engineer that can actually help you through that.
So you're telling me, ChatGPT, you can make it in a sort where you can scrap all the reels and find which ones are performing, which one has the most interactions, views.
100%, especially with the agent mode.
So because the reason why I'm skeptical is because sometimes I ask ChatGPT to scrap this website, and it tells you, "Oh, I can't do it."
And it can't, exactly. So this is
you
why
said it can, or it can't, or it can.
Yeah, it can't. In some cases, it can't. Right? Like if you give it an Instagram profile and you go like, okay, well, give me the information about this Instagram profile, it can't do that in a lot of cases, right? But that being said, there's other tools that if you just plug them into ChatGPT and you create flows through make.com or N2 8NN. Oh, damn it, I forgot what it's called. But there's like a bunch of like automation tools that you can use to just be able to do that kind of stuff for sure.
I know, like, there's some websites, I think Social Blade, where you can tell you this account, where is it situated, where is it positioned in the world, as like how performing it is, how it's performing. So you're telling me it's doable. Okay.
Oh, it's 100% doable. Okay. It's just that you have to recognize that it's a skill, right? Like, I'm very skeptical of people when they come to me and they're like, "Oh, I can't do this with ChatGPT because it just doesn't give me the right output." I'm like, it doesn't give you the right output because you don't know how to prompt it. Like, if you just know how to prompt it correctly and you understand like what you have to do with it. I have clients that will literally work on a business model with ChatGPT over a weekend, launch that business with ChatGPT over 2-3 days, and within a month they've made like 200K. Like, I've seen that happen. So it's like there's a huge difference between like the person that learns to prompt correctly and can do that, and the person who's just like kind of stuck and like, this is just never gonna work.
At the end of the day, it's all in the prompting, right? So what do you have in mind, and do you have the reflex to ask ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, like the way that I would think about it is, if you think of what business is in its purest form is business is a never-ending exercise in problem solving, right? That's all you're doing. You're just solving one problem after the next, and you're never going to get to this fantasy world where everything is so good in your business that there's no problems, right? Because it would defeat the purpose, right? Even multi-billion-dollar businesses have problems, right? And so when you prompt ChatGPT, right, and ChatGPT gives you an answer that you don't like, well, it's a problem you have to solve, right? So you sit in front of that answer and you ask yourself, like, how do I solve this problem so that I can get the right answer out of ChatGPT? And then you just focus on hyper solving that problem, being hyper focused on solving that problem. And if you just do that, then eventually you're going to be like, okay, damn, it is solvable. It is something I can do. I can get the right output out of it. And I think that's AI is so new that we often treat it like software, but it's very different. Like it's its own kind of thing. And so that's one of the skills that if you just learn how to do correctly, it can take you a lot further than a lot of other people, for sure.
Going back to creative director, right?
Yeah.
So you said that you have an agent where it does some sort the creative director job. What kind of prompt can you like give him so he can be like a better version of?
So I'll take my consulting business, okay, right? So I run a consulting business called the Agency.Business, and I work mostly with agency owners. I've been working with agency owners for about 12 years, and it's something that I love doing. The great thing about the work that I've done with agency owners is that over the last 5 years, I have recorded every single consulting call that I've done with them. So I literally have thousands of recorded consulting calls. I had an engineer write a script for me so that every time there's a transcript of a call from an AI note taker, it'll pull that transcript and it'll put it into a Google Drive. And so at first my engineer was like, oh, why do you want me to put all the transcripts in a Google Drive? And I was like, don't worry about it, just do it. And so 5 years worth of transcripts in a Google Drive. I now have a Google Drive with every single thing I've said in every consulting call, every single objection that I've gotten from clients or from other people I'm consulting, or all sorts of stuff like that, leads, clients, all of that. And now I'm able to connect that Google Drive to ChatGPT, right? There's a really big difference between ChatGPT with or without that Google Drive, because now ChatGPT knows me like super well. It knows everything I've said in the last 5 years, right? And so now it's literally, I can have a conversation with myself. I can create an agent, which is like a consultant like me, that can answer the questions exactly the same way that I would answer, right? And so once you feed it the right information, and you're able to say, okay, I need you to make me content that would speak to my audience. Well, in those transcripts, you also have everything my clients have ever said. So you know my audience now, right? You know what they care about. You know what their worries are. You know what keeps them up at night, right? So make me content, give me topics that I can make for my content that has to do with this specifically, right? So if you just do a few things to prompt it correctly, eventually you're gonna get a really good result out of it.
Let's go technical on the subject, right? So I hear what you're saying, and it's a great idea. Yeah. I also do it as for my calls that I do with clients. So basically what I do is I ask the client for the permission to record the call. With iPhone, there's a button on the top so you can record it, so I also know that it's recording, right? And then after that, I pull that transcription, and then I ask for a tool. I have a different software where tell me if I can do it in a better way, because it's like there's plenty of steps. So after that, I transcript it, copy and paste on ChatGPT to ask for ChatGPT to summarize the conversation, and I put it on my CRM so my team can understand the whole file. So I'm doing it. So one of the things that I'm not able to do at the moment is I can't take that transcription, just upload on ChatGPT. I mean the audio file, and upload on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to do the transcription and summarize. I need to use another tool which is only audio to transcription. Yeah. So you're telling me, and the reason why I'm telling you that is because I know that it can't do it. It can't transcript the audio file. So how do you do it with a Google Drive where it understand the whole audios, and then it understand you as a person?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I did was I don't take calls on the phone ever. Like I only talk to people on Google Meet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I tell them like, oh, I can call you, but I'm only gonna call you to tell you to get on the Google Meet. Like that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, so it's all video calls.
It's all. I mean, they don't have to be on video. It just has to happen on Google Meet. It could be just audio, but just on Google Meet. And so usually I'll get my clients to Google Meet, and then once they're on Google Meet, then I have Fireflies, which is my AI note taker. But you can use tons of other ones as well. Like
that's your best. That's the best.
I wouldn't say it's the best. I feel like AI note takers. It really depends on your company and what you guys are looking for. Like for Brand Butter, for example, we use a completely different note taker. But for my consulting business, I use Fireflies because Fireflies is good enough for what I need. There's Otter, there's Fellow, there's like a bunch of other like AI note takers, but I use Fireflies. And so once Fireflies is in my call, it's over, right? Like it'll get the audio, it'll get the video, it'll get the transcription, it'll give me notes, it'll give me everything that I need, and then I can literally download all of that as a PDF and just put it in a Google Drive, and then feed the Google Drive to ChatGPT.
Got it. So you're doing basically the same thing as me that has to do different stuff because I'm talking over the phone.
Yeah,
I prefer to talk over the phone because when it's a video call, man, I never stick to the time that I have with the client.
Right.
You know, you talk a lot. You go to different subjects. It's different. Okay, so that's a great idea. So you're telling me once you have all this transcription, you put it on ChatGPT. ChatGPT understand who you are, and then what director? Like we were talking about the director, creative director. So my initial question was, how can you make that creative director good enough so he can give you ideas for your content creation?
I mean, once it has all, it's really not that difficult of a question. Like once it has all the information, it's pretty easy. Then you just prompt it being like, okay, I want to make content, explain your project, explain what you want to do. And then just be like, I need you to be a creative director with 20 years of experience focused on getting the audience to really react to the content and to really engage. And I want you to be able to give me some topics, like 10 or 20 topics that will be relevant to my audience. And then you basically run that prompt, you get the topics. If you're not happy with the topics, then you say, no, I need you to be more controversial, or I need you to be more like this, right? And then once you get a list of topics that you really like, then ChatGPT has understood what you're going for, right? And then at that point, you could be like, okay, well, now that I have these topics, I want you to write scripts for me for each one. And then you just go script by script until like they're really good and they actually, you know your audience better than anybody, right? So until they're really good and they really speak to your audience, and once you're sure of that, then get a studio like this and go record.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So it's give us a lot of ideas, and I'm sure the audience will also find it very interesting what you're talking about. So to we're coming to the end of the conversation. So if we can go back to the young Damiano, right, and you can give him an advice. You're going into this machine, Back to the Future, but we're going to your past, and you're meeting the young Damiano. What kind of advice would you give him as an entrepreneur, so you can probably move faster? You can move faster, or not just be better at what you're doing right now. What kind of advice?
I would say, it's a really good question. I would say definitely keep your Pokemon cards, but also,
Tell you you're a Pokemon card fan.
Yeah, I am.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I went to Japan, right? So I went to this store where there's a lot of Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of Pokemon cards, and I have a friend. I just found out that it's a big business. I think a $1 billion business. So I'm like, you know what? What cards can I buy that has some value? So I took my phone, went on ChatGPT, took a picture of all the cards, and then asked ChatGPT, can you find the best card that has the value? And it was giving me a lot of like explanation, but couldn't find. He wasn't able to tell you exactly.
I gotta give you a workshop on prompting, bro.
Really?
At some point, we'll make that happen, because that's
man.
definitely something you can do.
So you can definitely do.
100%.
But the thing is, the cards inside I think Pokemon cards, how it works is that you have a packaging, and then inside the cards you have different cards than.
Yeah. It's like boosters, right? So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you find like?
Can you find out what's inside the booster?
No.
You can't.
Can you find Can you find great value cards at in stores, like in regular stores?
Yeah, of course.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, of course. It's the gambling mechanic behind the Pokemon booster opening, right? It's like you never know what you're gonna get, so like you just keep buying them and keep opening them.
I see.
Right?
Okay, well, so that's a different subject. But you were telling me, you were telling me about what were we talking about?
If I was
Yeah, you have to go
back in time, yeah, okay. I would say like, throughout the last 12 years, the one thing that has helped me accelerate my growth the most was working with mentors, and working with people who've done it before. Actually, in the last 12 years, I've spent $1.5 million on the best mentors and coaches and consultants. I've worked with people that used to work at the CIA to like learn how to build trust and familiarity. I've worked with people who are really good at sales, people who are really good at operations, people who are really good at lead generation, all of that. And I've done tons of other stuff like courses and things like that. But the one thing that has consistently helped me grow was just finding somebody who's done it and just paying that person to mentor me for a few months so that I can just learn everything and then take all those learnings and apply them and implement them within my business. And I would say when I was younger, there was a real fear, and a lot of solopreneurs, they feel like this. There's a real fear to make that investment because you don't know. In a lot of cases, it's not even about trusting the mentor, but it's trusting yourself in the fact that you'll be able to learn what this mentor can teach you and you'll be able to implement it. The answer is most of the time you should be able to do that if you work with the right mentor. And so if I was to go back, I think I would have hesitated a lot less on making those decisions to be able to find the right mentors for the right parts of the businesses.
That's a great advice, man. Yeah, you even beat me on the spending part. Like I spent maybe half $1,000,000 on mentorship in the past like a decade. $1.5 million is a lot. It's a lot of money. Yeah. So you were mentioning Damiano as someone who
I worked with Cole Gordon as well. Like I worked with like a lot of different people.
Amazing, man. Yeah, that's one of the easiest way you could accelerate. Obviously, that's something I like to say. Everything in life that you want to do already been done by somebody else. Why are you like breaking your head, breaking your back to figure out by yourself when you could use that person knowledge, experience to just move faster? Right. So it's simple like that, but unfortunately most people are not there. They have this scarcity in the beginning because they never done it. They don't come from a wealthy entrepreneurship family, so they have to like learn it by themselves. But eventually, once you figure out, that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. Like I'm getting free knowledge from Damiano, like for sure. Literally. That's all.
I mean, you could just take me out to dinner.
Absolutely, you're a nice guy like that. But we done it earlier.
Like one of the things you said actually really resonates with me because this is something that I tell my consulting clients all the time. Like when I consult agencies, the reason why these agency owners choose me as their mentor is because I've been doing this for 12 years. I've had 3 agencies. I've helped over 700 agency owners. I know how to build an agency and I know this business model inside out. But the reality is the agency business model has been around since 1812. The first advertising agency was in 1812. So they were advertising through newspapers and flyers. But since 1812, there has been 200 years of thousands of agency owners who have done this. So every possible problem that we have in our agencies, and not just like marketing agencies, but also like, mortgage brokerages or realtors and all that, they're all service-based businesses. And they're all the same. Like all of these problems have been already solved by people before us, and we're just walking in their footsteps, right? So if you just find the right person who has done this, who has spent the money to learn this kind of stuff, just align yourself with them, and you'll accelerate your growth by a factor of 10 in some cases. So
that's crazy.
You could grow a lot quicker with the right mentor.
Yeah,
that's for
sure.
So
I believe it. That's what I done. By hiring Patrick David, Alex Mosey. I've been to his headquarters for a workshop. Thinking about doing it with Don Martel. So it's never ending. You just have to invest your money into those things. So if you want to learn faster, especially in this market where everything is going even faster than what you expected, so man, you have no choice to do it, right?
Exactly.
But then if you believe in yourself, that's one of the things that No, it's very good that you said that. You know, the best way I can describe this is a lot of people, especially when I was doing the event Elevate, we had 1,400 people, and we made hundreds of thousands of calls just to fill the room. It's a really hard business, conferences.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you weren't there because you
I'll be there next year.
Russell Brunson. Are you a fan of Russell Brunson?
Of course.
Yeah. So Russell Brunson's the main speaker. So some people, they were telling my sales guys like, oh, it's pretty expensive, $650 for the admission ticket. And one of the things that I told them is, in this man, like, if you find it's expensive, like there's 1,400 people, other people is gonna come to the event. And there's a lot of successful people that are coming to the event. And if you look at the most successful people, especially in Montreal, you pretty much see them out every damn time at those kind of events or workshop, whatever. What do you think? What's the reason why these people are already successful? They're already making money. Why are they keep investing in themselves? Why are they still going to those events? Because that's the reason why they're on top, right? That's one main thing. The other thing is they believe in themselves. Even if it's like 650, 2,000, 3,000. Do you believe enough in yourself to go at those places and get results from it, right? So it's all about, like, do you believe in yourself enough to say that, okay, it's like a lot of people are paying it, has to be valuable, but now it comes to, like, are you gonna take action? Are you gonna talk to people? Are you gonna write, understand the stuff that they're teaching and applying in your business? So it comes to, are you believing in yourself? Like, I've been to like Patrick Bediv events, and spend like $5,000 for the main ticket just to have a conversation with Pat to eventually have him in my podcast. So 4 years ago, I didn't know if I was gonna make it. If I was gonna make it, if I'll have the opportunity to talk to him. But you have to take that kind of action to have that kind of chance. You wouldn't be able to do it if not, right? So and guess what? I made it happen. Right? I made it happen with one of the biggest guys in the entrepreneurship niche. I believed in myself, and I'm like, you know what? If it doesn't work this time, I'm gonna go back again and again and again. And it took me 4 years to have it. Like, so.
Yeah. And I think, especially with conferences, right? Like, I do a lot of conferences. I do something like over 10 conferences a year. So I'm every month or every couple of months, I'm flying somewhere to go to some conference. And at some of these conferences, we're actually exhibiting, right? So we'll spend upwards of like $250,000, $300,000 to just have a booth, have our whole team there, like, to meet clients. And so in a lot of cases with these conferences, it also comes down to the strategy, right? It's like, if you're going to show up to the conference and just hope for the best, well, good luck, right? But if you actually have a strategy to connect with the right people, to be able to get the right knowledge that you need, to be able to sponsor maybe, or to speak, or to do any of the stuff, that strategy is what makes a really big difference in a lot of cases. And that's actually one of the things that I teach in my consulting as well. It's like, if you're going to take the time and spend the money to go to a large conference like this, how do you get the most out of it? And there's tons of
you consult on, like, how do you get?
100%. I've been going to conferences for the last like 10 years. Like, I have really good flows.
I'm gonna
of
send
like
all
how
my
to do
conference clients to you, so they
Nice.
so they can come back to me every year. That's amazing, man.
Yeah. I mean, or you can have me do a workshop. That could also be interesting. So, I've actually cracked the conference sort of, and the first year where I seriously started going to conferences was 2020. So in 2020, during COVID, I was like, okay, I'm just going to start doing like all of these like small events a little bit all over the world. And then once COVID ended, like around 2022, I literally started going, and I was in crypto at the time. So I was like going from crypto conference to crypto conference. And the first year I did that, I walked away with very little value. Like, sometimes I would go to a conference, I'd be like, why am I here? I don't get it. And then eventually got a mentor, like a super connector kind of person that has done this conference stuff a lot. And then from him, learned a ton of stuff. And then once I learned a ton of stuff, it just completely shifted my whole focus on how to deal with networking events, or how to deal with with conferences. And now we work with KPIs. We know exactly what kind of goals we want to hit before we go to the conference, or by the time we walk out of there, what's important to us, who we want to connect with, who, like all of these things. And so that's why we're comfortable spending upwards of $300K to go to a conference, because if our strategy is strong enough, then we're going to walk away with millions of dollars worth of value out of that. So
it's amazing. Let's make it happen.
The cost is worth it.
Put it on the chat or comment section if you want Damiano to do a workshop on like how to get the best KPIs on conferences. All right, Damiano, last question. I'm a big reader. I love reading books. One of the easiest way you could actually have a virtual mentor from maybe dead people as well. It's reading their books, right? Biography and books as well. So, are you a reader? And if you're a reader, can you give us maybe one of your best book that you recently read or your all-time favorite?
I'm very deep in, and it's not the first time I read it, but right now it's very relevant to where I am in my life. But I'm very deep into Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell right now.
Okay.
Very good book. I think every entrepreneur should read it. It will save you a lot of headache, let's just say. So
really, so
Buy Back Your Time it's a good one.
If I understand this, the title is like
the premise,
how to save time, right?
Yeah. But how to do it in a sustainable way that still grows your business.
You read a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me one. Like I don't want to read it. Let's say I don't want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just want you to tell me like what's your biggest takeaway from the book.
One of the things that most entrepreneurs don't do. Your first hire. Who do you think your first hire should be in your company?
An accountant.
An accountant? No. Your first hire should be a virtual assistant.
Okay.
Right? Because that's the first person that you delegate everything to. Yeah. And then everything, your entire delegation structure comes from that first hire, right? It's like, then everything becomes easier once you have a virtual assistant. And like I have a virtual assistant I've been working with for the last 3 years. I've had many over the last 12 years. And every time I consult with a client, that's literally one of my first questions is like, hey, I understand that you're overwhelmed and you can't think straight because you have so much things you have to do between lead generation and sales and project management and delivery. And it's just like too much stuff for you. But let me ask you, do you have a virtual assistant right now? And usually the answer is no, right? And so I'm like, okay. I actually have created a system with my virtual assistant in Philippines where we can find very high performing virtual assistants. So these are the people that are like experts, have 6 years of experience in specific fields and all of this. And so any consulting client that works with me, I have them go through that system and they literally hire somebody that in some cases, like one of my clients, saved 30 hours a week just by hiring the right assistant for a fraction of the price, right? And then now all the stress goes away, everything, you can think clear, and you can make the next move in a much smarter way.
I mean, that's a great advice. Great advice. I do have an assistant, but having a virtual assistant it's much cheaper, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? How cheaper? 50% cheaper, probably.
It depends on where you hire. Yeah. I would say in Philippines, I know Philippines very well now because I've basically been hiring for the last decade from there. I would say if you want to be competitive today, you're looking at around maybe $1,000 a month for somebody full time.
Okay, that's not. That's cheap.
Yeah.
But again, one of the difficulties we have, especially in Quebec, is finding a bilingual, right? Especially as a solopreneur like me that offers services and have a lot of French clients.
For sure.
Philippines, do they?
No, and that's the thing. I mostly work with clients in English. However, like my girlfriend, for example, works with clients only in French, right? Okay. So what we did for her is we actually found somebody in Madagascar. And so, Madagascar is a really good place to be able to hire good talent.
Then would you compare Madagascar and Philippines? Same quality?
I think you can get the same quality. I think it's a lot more difficult, though, to find in Madagascar, for sure. And I think that it's more of a cultural thing. Like in Philippines, there's a really big work at night culture because everybody wants to work for a North American or European company. Whereas in Madagascar, it's just different. It's more new, I would say.
Okay. Because I know some agency that hire people for people like us from Madagascar.
There's actually a really well-known person in Quebec who does that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So, especially if some countries, they understand the fast culture.
Yes.
Speed, we are super fast, we want speed.
Yeah.
Dan Montel says it a lot. It's all about speed. Mm-hmm. Speed. Mm-hmm. So, Madagascar people like, do they understand like as much as Philippine people? Like,
Everybody's different,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to generalize because everybody's different, but I feel like it's a lot harder to find that kind of quality in French. It is a reality for sure, than it is in English. It's just true, right? Like biggest market for digital services in the world is like the U.S., right? So a lot of these English-speaking countries are able to align themselves with that. For other languages, it is significantly more difficult, right? Like I also speak Italian, so some of my clients, like they're all Italian speakers, way more difficult for them as well, right? So we have to hire people out of Ethiopia, for example, right? So
oh yeah, they speak the Italian there.
yeah, Ethiopia is the only country that was colonized by Italy in Africa,
Oh,
or
that's good.
ever, I think.
That's
So
interesting.
you know, there's things like that, but now you're dealing with internet connections that are not as good, right?
Okay.
You're dealing with other problems as well, and so there's innovative ways to solve these problems for sure. For the French side, what I found is that Madagascar, I've also hired people from like Congo and things like that, and we got like some pretty decent quality out of there. But I would say it's obviously definitely easier in English.
Virtual assistant. One of the biggest
Yes.
takeaway.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like if you don't have one right now, like you're literally just spinning your wheels doing things that you shouldn't be doing.
Let's say again, I'm putting you on the spot.
Mhm.
It's a big book, right? Let's say some guy like me who have an virtual assistant, like,
Mhm.
and I want you to talk to like maybe entrepreneurs who are doing good,
Mhm.
but there's some stuff that the Dan Martel is probably seeing in the book.
Yeah, like for example,
them.
and this is something that I've done in my companies forever. But it's about building an executive team, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I got to build a team. Great, you start hiring all the people to do your project management and delivery and stuff, but then you don't really think about your executive, right? You don't think about what this looks like if you're completely off the business, right? How does the business still run if you're not there, you know? And the way that you do that is through an executive team. So at Brand Butter, we have an executive team of 5 people now. So we have 5 people in our executive team. Each person takes care of a specific part of the business, and then they have teams under them that they manage. Brand Butter is a 47 people business, so it's like there's a lot of moving parts. But at the top of those 47 people, there's 5 people that manage everything.
So you can pretty much take off and
If you do it right and you have the right executives in the right seats, yeah, like you should be able to leave. Obviously, like it's easier said than done, right? But if you look at people like Dan, for example, who runs 3 businesses, I also run 3 businesses right now. We wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't because of we can build teams and we can have an executive structure in there. So you know, like keep in mind, you know, like really big companies like you know, like the children's book company Scholastics, for example, that's been family owned for the last 100 years. You know, these are the people that made like Clifford the Big Red Dog, or you know, like some of these like Peppa Pig or Naruto in French, right? Like this company, even though they have owners because they're family owned, the owners are not necessarily as involved in every part of the business because they have a structure, right? They have like an executive that has a manager that has like people under them that are doing like certain things. And so you know, if you keep that structure in mind for your own business as you scale, then it becomes a little easier to grow it for sure.
Damiano, thank you so much, man. It
Dude,
means a lot.
it was a pleasure.
A lot of golden nuggets that people can take right away and, you know, do millions of dollars in their business. Thank you again. And if somebody wants to contact you, what's the best way? What's the best platform? What's the best way they can reach you out?
I'm really receptive on Instagram. So if you go to Damiano R on Instagram, send me a message. I'll usually see it. And then if you want to know more about my marketing firm, it's brandbutter.me. And my consulting firm is theagency.business. And that's specifically for agency owners.
Oh, man, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much.
Boom.